Hi YouTube, this is Darkon633, and this time we're going to do something a little bit different than what I usually do on my channel, and that is we're going to take an entire week to look at the entire rundown of the Star Wars 6-inch Black Series for Rogue One, and this is Wave 3, which consists of 6 figures, meaning that it's at the current moment is the largest wave of brand new figures in the entire line so far. We're just going to start running down in order of their numbers of each of the individual characters in this assortment and move on from there. So anyway, now move on to day one. Now we're going to take a look at the first figure in this third wave of the 6-inch Black Series, and that is Princess Leia Organa. This figure was known for quite some time, and it did take some exceptional time in order for it to be released. Unfortunately, the finishing product is not the best I've seen in the overall sculpt of figures, especially by Hasbro. A lot of the other female sculpts, while not perfect, turn out much better than what they did with Leia, and it really does not look like Carrie Fisher, and off the bat, since I've seen the original photos, kind of looks more like B. Arthur than anything else, and it's really distracting. Anyway, so now take a look at the box. The box has a picture of Leia Organa there. Shows that it is number 30, continuing off from where we left off in the last wave, and it does have a bio as normal. So now we're going to take a look at the figure itself. The figure, in the overall sculpt otherwise, is actually really good, and that's because she's actually the most articulated in this entire line, and I find that very interesting. It seems like Hasbro is continuing the trend with cloaked characters, or at least with the soft goods cloaked characters, where they actually have more articulation underneath. Just looking underneath here, she does have double joints at the elbows, which is something extremely rare, especially for female figures to begin with, so that's really nice to see that this figure is more articulated, even if it's definitely not the most accurate. One thing to note is that this figure does suffer from some QC problems, in terms of, for some reason on mine, it doesn't have a fully stitched cloak, and I do not know what causes that issue. Otherwise, the articulation is at a ball joint, with good range of movement overall, nothing really restrictive there. And she does have the cloak, which can go over her head, but it doesn't look quite right, since it seems like Hasbro is definitely not nailed down on how the soft goods cloaks look like over heads. As stated, it does have double joints at the elbows, but it does also have the ball hinges at the shoulders. However, it suffers the same problem what we see with Luke, and that's the fact that the cloak does kind of twirl with it when articulated. We have ball hinges at the wrists, which are good range of movement. She has a pretty good abdomen joint there, so that's nice. She has good movement in the hips, since even the skirt piece does not get in the way. She does have swivels at the thighs, which is nice. Does have double joints at the knees, which is good. And fully jointed ankles. So she does have a ton of articulation, and that's the strong point going with her, not so much the likeness of Carrie Fisher. Anyway, she does include 2 main accessories, and that is her standard pistol that she used at the beginning of the film. And she also includes the Stormtrooper blaster, which does have a little bit of paint on it right here. There isn't a whole lot of paint otherwise, it's just molded otherwise. She can carry it with no issues, and that's good. Although, she can't really put her finger on the trigger too well, since the way that her hands are molded. But other than that, that's actually pretty good for the figure in general. We'll now move on to some comparison shots with some of the other characters in the line. Here's Carrie Fisher next to the other main characters of A New Hope. I think Hasbro overall at least did a good job releasing the characters, even though Leia did take some time to actually get released. And obviously she does suffer from the facial design problems, but other than that, it is pretty good for what it does, and it does fit in nicely with the rest of the figures. The recent prototype, before the figure was released, was by far one of the worst looking versions of the character, so at least they fixed it just a tad bit, but it's definitely not perfect in any sense. But if you're a fan of A New Hope, or just Star Wars in general, and you want to actually get the main cast in the 6-inch scale, this is a decent figure to get a hold of, since it's definitely not the worst we've gotten. And it does okay, at least in display, even if it's not 100% accurate. I got this at BBTS along with the other 6-inch Black Series figures, so now we're moving on to day 2 of the 6-inch Black Series figures of Wave 3. Anyways, please comment, subscribe, and check out Hero Club and Hirotaku. Also check me on Twitter at Darkon633, and don't forget to check down the other channels down below. Please check down the little bell at the bottom of the screen, and I'm back with more Star Wars reviews, but for now, be seeing you YouTube. Bye.